Okay, gentlemen. It's that time again where we throw a little topic into the hat for discussion. Mm-hmm. And on this podcast, our topic is top 5 metal cover songs. And there are a lot more. There are a lot more of these out there than you think. Is what I'm going to say.
There's albums and albums and albums, compilation albums of just metal cover songs, and pop goes punk, and punk goes pop, or metal goes pop, and there's loads.
Yep, I ended up down many a rabbit hole during this one. But the other thing is, there are a lot of absolutely god awful covers out there, like just nonsense covers that nobody wanted to hear in the first place. But someone decided, you know what would be a really good idea? We should cover Oops, I Did It Again by Britney Spears. Yeah, I'm talking to you, children of bottom.
That's a great fucking cover.
Jesus, if that's in any of your lists, I'm fucking hanging up this call. God fucking help me.
Alright, change my list, sorry.
But seriously, and there is some really bad. I don't know if any of you heard. I'd never heard this before until now, but Mushroomhead covering Sealed's Crazy. Have you heard that?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Fucking hell.
It's terrible. Yeah.
Jesus.
See, to me, I think it'll be interesting to see how our lists marry up and what we look for. I think I suppose that like the opening question is, what are you looking for from a metal cover song? Because is it just a heavier version of the original song, or is it, are you looking for something with a different composition, or what is it you're actually looking for? Because I think that ultimately informs what you'll gravitate towards.
Well, I don't know. I was going to say something that's original, but looking at my list,
like mine's is just heavier versions of the original. So mine's is like if you'd asked me in advance, I would have said I like the bands that do their own take on it. And then looking at my list, it couldn't be further from the truth. I like songs that sound almost like the pop songs, just a lot heavier. So. Oops, I did that again. So yeah, I mean, I was actually shocked at that. What made the final list for me was stuff that was surprisingly conventional. There's only one track here, and I might not launch it as in my 5, although I do think it's top 5 worthy, which is not at all really like the original. It's like a kind of different composition, but for the most part, they're all pretty much on point. So
yeah. Just to stipulate that I left this topic fairly open, open to interpretation. This can be a metal band covering another rock or metal song, or it could be a metal band covering something that is not rock or metal, a pop song or a punk song or whatever. So it's fairly open, this one, and my list has a bit of a mix of both of those. So gentlemen, our top 5s. Starting at number 5.
Yep, I've said just now that I have a list of 16, but if anyone mentions one that's on my list, I will remove it from my list and replace it with something else. So, okay, because I don't want repeats here, Dave.
Okay,
you son of a bitch, looking at my list.
Okay, so does anyone in particular want to kick us off, or shall I go?
You go.
Okay. Number 5 is Killswitch Engage, Holy Diver.
Okay.
Oh no.
I actually what? I actually
I don't like this cover. Wow, yeah!
Oh, come on. It's Big Howard, man.
I like Howard, but I like Howard when he's being less playful. They ruined him.
They did ruin him. Yeah, everything he's done since has been generic shite. But I actually like the original. I think Dio's version of this is really good. But I just like the way that Killswitch have taken the kind of rock groove of this and melded it into their style of metalcore. I think it totally works. Plus, it has the best Killswitch vocalist on it, Howard Jones.
Controversial, or is it?
Not really. And I think that they don't keep it completely like the original. They've added in little bits and pieces, make it more Killswitch-esque with a little bit of breakdowns, the little bass drum patterns that sync up with the guitars, and there's the compulsory Killswitch melodies on tap as well. I think the production does help kind of seal the deal for me, but for the most part, it's a cover that, to me anyway, it doesn't come across cheesy or a complete mess. So it's my number 5. It's not the highest one on my list, but I do enjoy this as a cover. No one's saying anything about that one. Number 5 for you, Duncan.
I mean, I know what you're saying. I like the Dio version, and I was never really into the old. And I hated the music video. I think they just made a mockery of what Dio had done by trying to be funny. And I'm like, the song's already, you've made it sound funny, and now you're doing a funny video with it. Well played, guys. Well fucking played. Right. Let's go for it. This is a. I'll take some fucking shit from this. I
can't wait. Just build the suspense some more, yeah?
Yep. It's on this band's second album. And they got a guest vocalist to join them. The guest vocalist happened to be a massive fan of Peter Gabriel, which is why Cold Chamber's Shot the Monkey is number 5. I love this version. Love it. Now, to put things into perspective, Sharon Osbourne was their manager, and I get the feeling that this was very shrewd marketing of, if Ozzy's on your track, you'll do really, really well. Ozzy wants to do a cover. Ozzy wants to do Peter Gabriel, and you will do it. Because it's the least sounding Cold Chamber song ever. And I can't imagine anyone in Cold Chamber was a fan of Genesis and or Peter Gabriel. No. I just don't get that from their music. However, it works for me. I really, really like it. I think it shows off some of the kind of playful work on the guitars, especially the sound effects that whatever that dude's name is, Meigs, wasn't it? Meigs is the guitarist. Like what he was doing, I really enjoyed that. I think Ozzy sounds alright on it, and I'm not a big Ozzy Osbourne fan. I know I should fucking hand my metal card in, but I'm not. I find him a fairly not interesting vocalist. Rock and roll, Sharon. But he's good on this. The bits that he has. I actually like Desi's vocals on this as well. This is when he was starting to do a bit more of the melody side of things, which actually really worked in chamber music for me. I think chamber music's their best album. I know, sacrilege, hand my metal card in. But I stand by that. And this is one of these ones that on paper shouldn't work. Like Cold Chamber with Ozzy Osbourne, one shouldn't work. But Cold Chamber with Ozzy Osbourne covering Peter Gabriel definitely shouldn't fucking work. And I think it does. One of the better songs on that album. So yeah, Shot the Monkey. Shot the Monkey! Hi! So yeah.
It's alright. It's alright.
It's better than Holy Diver.
I can't believe you mocked me and then picked a new metal band.
This might not be the only new metal band on the list. Like, the list was at one point. I wanted to send you a message to say, could we just change this to top 5 new metal covers? Because when you go down the rabbit hole, you're stuck with either emo bands, screamo bands, pop punk bands, or new metal bands in the cover category, because those bands love a cover.
None of those. I have none of those.
Oh, well, look at Mr. fucking Davy Boz. Please, I've got none of those. We'll see, Dave. We'll see.
No, actually, on the positives, I actually really like the production on that album.
It's great production.
I really, and it does benefit that track. It's not the worst cover song I've ever heard. It's not a bad one. Kyle, pressure's on. What you got for number 5?
Shock the Monkey bite. No, I haven't. I actually didn't hate that cover. Actually,
it's a good cover.
Yeah, it's not bad. I like Cold Chamber, of course, but Holy Diver I learned how to play on bass, and so when they did their cover, I was like, I'll play that on bass, and I had to downtune a bit, but it's fine.
They made me downtune, and I play extreme metal music. How dare they?
Yeah. And I was like, they made me downtune. I've got that covered. Don't you worry. Actually, my first one is going to be maybe a bit of a surprise, but it's... I don't even know if you could guess. Temptation by Cradle of Filth.
Oh, God. I forgot they fucking did Temptation.
I have never forgotten they did that because it's the funniest fucking metal cover of a song I've ever heard in my life. And it gives me the giggles every time I listen to it, and I sit there and I go, this is shit, it's brilliant. It's one of those, I can't decide if it's awful or brilliant, and it's just, I love it.
I think it's kind of brilliant. I think it's kind of brilliant.
The guest vocalist screaming adorable creatures and that evil voice just sells it for me. It's so good. And my favourite thing, actually, when they released it, I went and watched it on YouTube, and some moron in the comments was like, "Oh my god, Cradle of Filth have gone so fucking commercial. Listen to the chord changes." And it's like, "It's a cover, you fucking what the fuck? How did you not get that?" But anyway, so yeah. That one, I always am in a good mood when I hear this cover. I just love it, and I put it on every now and then, and it's just like, yeah, I'm happy now.
I think it is kind of borderline genius because it's the last thing you expect from Cradle of Filth, and I think that's what makes it work. And also, there's a sense of humour in it. You can tell that they're having fun and poking fun.
Very tongue in cheek. Yeah, it's not serious really at all, and it really works. It's like they've made it a stupid bubblegum pop song work really well in a kind of metal way, but it's
that way where if you like, people say that if you're in a metal band, it's that way where it's like, it's easy just to go like that and make a lot of noise, and it's really difficult to write an enduring song. And weirdly, their sarcastic cover of that pop song just goes to show that metal bands can play pop songs really easy, and it's actually more difficult to do what they do. So fake fucking metal news media.
Okay, interesting first picks.
Dave's looking at his list and it looks kind of conventional now. Dave comes in with Holy Diver by well-known and well-loved band Killswitch Engage, and he's stuck with Cold Chamber and Cradle of Filth.
Oh man,
great topic, Dave.
Great topic. Okay, moving on to our number 4 picks. My number 4, probably one of the most covered bands on the planet. We've heard everyone from Machine Head to Trivium to Stone Sour cover their songs, but there's only one cover for me sounds nothing like the others. They take it to the depths of hell. The track is No Remorse, originally by Metallica, but covered by the mighty Cannibal Corpse.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yes. I fucking love this cover. While they don't mess too much with the kind of bones of the track, they keep a lot of there's little bits of thrash in there and everything from Cannibal Corpse. They keep a lot of the rhythms, but they up the heaviness fucking ridiculously, and it's those parts of the song that just make me make the disgusted face. I love the guitar tone. It's got a right grisly death metal production, and I love that they've taken a song by an iconic metal band but made it sound like part Cannibal Corpse. Most of these other bands, like the Machine Heads and the Triviums and stuff, they literally just cover the Metallica songs and they sound like Metallica songs. But Cannibal Corpse, they had the balls to heavy that fucker up, and that's why I like it. That's my number 4, Cannibal Corpse and No Remorse.
That's how you do it, huh? That's how you do it.
Duncan, what you got for me at number 4?
Number 4 came on a EP of mostly, in fact, I think they were all cover songs. A band who I genuinely think if all they wanted to do was cover songs for the rest of their career, it would be a great loss to music, but I would listen to every single fucking cover song. Is Ghost. And their cover of the Eurythmics classic Missionary Man.
Oh, it's great.
It's a fucking incredible cover. It's an incredible cover. And they've got it perfect. Like, absolutely. They even have the fucking harmonica solo in the middle. Let's just have it's fucking amazing. They've got they must have a guest vocalist in there doing the kind of female like kind of stuff in the background, but it's a brilliant cover that doesn't stray too far from the original. Gives it all the kind of doomy 70s pop stuff that Ghost do so well. And his voice lends himself really. I mean, when you look at the cover songs they've done, everything from fucking ABBA, all the way right through to Eurythmics, two bands that couldn't sound any diametrically opposed if they fucking tried. But his voice is so versatile, it just fits it. It's a brilliant one, whilst maybe not even the best Ghost cover song, it's the one that I've probably listened to the most. And Ghost and Missionary Man.
Interesting. I can't remember if I actually heard that. I'll need to check that one out.
It was on their. It was on the last EP,
wasn't it?
Yeah, the last EP, which is all cover songs. So,
right, okay.
So they've done 2 EPs of cover songs, and this was on Popular or something like that. I think it's something like that's called EP. And I think it's like track 2 or something. It's fucking brilliant. You'd like it actually, Dave, and I know you don't like Ghost, but you would like it because it's very much in keeping with the original, but just with a ghosty swagger.
Hey.
There you go. Number
Nice.
4.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Nudgy, nudge.
Kyle, number 4.
Number 4. I don't know. I don't know if I want to say this. No, I'm going to say this.
Oh dear.
It was I don't know if it was a secret track or an extra track or something like that on, I can't remember the album name now, but I'm just going to say the name of the song is Burning Hell by Dimmu Borgir. It's fucking brilliant. Have you heard it? It's amazing. No. It's like the original track is insane, and then they just cranked it up. I was like, yep, go, Dimmu Borgir. It was in that stage when they were really fucking good. Like, after they were all black metal and shit where they started, and before they got too commercial, like on the last album, it was like right around the, sort of, I can't remember the year, but it was about a decade ago, even longer than that, about 15 years ago. They were really good. They were putting out some great albums, and I can't remember the name of any of them because they've just gone straight out of my head. I should write this stuff down, really. But no, they did this at the end of one of the albums, and I can't remember if it was like a bonus track or something, but it was at the end, and it was just, as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh, they did this. Oh my god, it's so good. I know it's one of those covers. Sometimes I've skipped the entire album, like on the CD player, and like pressed the button 15 times just to hear the album, just to hear the cover songs. That's why it went on my list. So yeah, nice. Burning Hell by Dimmu Borgir.
I don't think I've heard that either, actually.
Oh, you got to check it out. It's really good.
I'll need to check that. Okay. Moving on to our number 3. Okay. Now it's getting serious, boys. This is where it gets serious. Number 3 for me is Clone, Army of Me.
It's a good one, Dave. That's a really fucking good one. Taking on that Bjork.
Yes. So me and Bjork songs don't usually mix that well. Just putting
what the fuck is the matter with you? Why am I thinking at this now?
I just never got it. It's just a bit too eccentric for me. Like, just never really clicked with Bjork. But this track is actually one of the tracks that I don't mind of hers. It's got a very, like, the original's got a very groove heavy. It's got that kind of bassy, electronic drums. So it's no surprise that it converts pretty well. And if there's a band that can add something, a little extra to this, it's French metalers Clone. This one's actually, it's been done by a few bands.
It's been done by loads of people. And almost every cover's been great, but Clone's cover's fucking brilliant.
Yep. I think Chimera did a cover of it as well, but I personally think Clone did the best job with it. I think this track, it suits his voice perfectly, both in like pitch and tone. I think Clone are a band that they work a groove so well anyway in their own material, so they were really able to give this track a huge dose of heaviness and weight, which just sounds awesome on it. Love this track. Clone, Army of Me is my number 3 pick.
It was actually on my list of 16, Dave, so we'll be covering that. Yeah, I think it's a fucking great, and I've heard easily about 7 covers of this, from everyone from Chimera right down to 30 Seconds of Mars. Have all covered this, so yeah, it was a good call. Well done, Dave.
Nice.
It doesn't hurt me to say that. Not even a little bit. Right, where to go with this? So many options. Do I go conventional? do I not go conventional? I've already mentioned Eurythmics, which makes me feel that the one that I really want to mention, I probably shouldn't, because it's too obvious. Too fucking obvious. Or is it? I don't know. It's difficult, Dave. It's difficult. What I'm going to lean into, right, is one that, to be honest, is another song that's been covered about 1 million times. Yeah, I think in terms of sound and swagger, this band maybe pull it off better than everyone. It has another amazing music video where the band are sitting and all they want is the original band to be in their music video, but their agent hasn't done it, Dave. He's not done it. So instead what he does is he sends them out into the main streets of New York to find the band and put them in the music video. This is Cancer Bat's cover of Sabotage by the Beastie Boys, and it is bitchin'.
Nice. Good choice. Good choice.
Fucking amazing. If ever there was a cover song suited to Cancer Bats, it's Sabotage. Yeah. Like, it suits Liam's vocals perfectly. That it just sounds dirty. It's got that kind of sludgy, punky like sound that Cancer Bats has made a career out of. And it's just, like I say, it's a song that's been covered probably more by metal bands than any other genre when it comes to the Beastie Boys. You know, their songs always lend themselves well to punk and metal and stuff, but the Cancer Bats one might be my favourite. So yeah, Cancer Bats and Sabotage.
Nice, good pick.
Also, the music video is hilarious. Like, it really is. Why don't you go out there and put you in the music video? Yeah, you like that? Yeah. Fucking amazing. I was giggling away like a schoolgirl watching it this morning because that's my life now. So
nice one. Kyle, what's your number 3?
So my number 3, this is 3, right?
Yep.
I haven't lost count.
This podcast has been so long, even though Dave tried to shorten
it. You gotta shorten it and then bring us loads of albums. Yeah. Anyway, my number 3 is a band that loves synthesizers, and it is metal. It's not like last time where I gave a whole bunch of non-metal bands like a complete idiot.
Go on, Kyle.
This is a band that loves synthesizers, covering a very predominantly synthesizer song.
Go on.
Fear Factory with Cars.
I was waiting to see who was going to put it on there. It's on my list of 16, and I didn't shortlist it to 5 because I thought someone else would do it.
It's so good. I used to love that original song when I was a kid. My mum used to play it all the time, and then I heard the Fear Factory version. I was like, "This is my kind of shit." You know?
Yeah. If Gary Newman had written it in 2000, that's how it would have sounded. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Because you listen to his later stuff, it got progressively more metal. So
it did, yeah, it really did. And like, I heard this on, I think, a Kerrang cover CD. I was on a long journey somewhere up the middle of England. Sounds like an insult, doesn't it? Up the middle of England with you. Anyway, I was in the back of the car and I'm just listening to this Kerrang CD. They had some some others. I think it was a covers CD. Had some Josh Brolin stuff, and anyway, it was on there, and it was like my favourite song on that CD. I was like, I was blown away by it straight. I was like, this is Gary Newman, but heavier. Yes, this is what I want. And then he got heavier, so of course I became more of a fan. And and of course it's Fear Factory, which I was already a fan of since the mid 90s or something. So really good. Really, really loved it. So there you go.
Nice.
It's an excellent cover song.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
Okay, moving on. Number 2. So number 2 on my list. This is quite a new one. It's quite a new song. But when I first heard it, it blew me away just how heavy and ugly this sounded. It's another track that's been covered a lot. But most of the covers are fairly predictable. Not this one. This is the Acacia Strain covering Black Hole Sun by Soundgarden. Oh my god. This is...
I can't tell what you're going to say next, Duncan. Are you laughing because...
No, it's a remarkable sounding cover.
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure I like it, but they definitely made it their own.
Yes, it's anything but predictable. It's just utter misery. Like it's brutally heavy in tone and production. The vocals are just absolute filth. But as heavy as they are, he still adds. There's a little bit of tone to the choruses as well. You know what I mean? It's not just pure like grit and gravel, but it also makes it sound more disgusting somehow. And I think that's why I like it so much. They've kind of taken a song that's already pretty somber and just turned the depression up to about 11. And I love it for that. It's one of those songs that it sounds so different from the original, but so fucking heavy. It's unbelievable. Yeah, that's my number 2, Acacia Strain, Black Hole Sun. Oh yes. Duncan.
Oh, man. Right, I'm in a quandary here. My quandary is that I have a band with 2 amazing cover songs that they have in their arsenal, and I can only pick one. And do I go for the one that is conventionally recognised as being absolutely fucking amazing, or do I go for the one that I think is the better cover song, but is of the more obscure track? I don't know. Let's double down. Let's be predictable. Let's follow the fucking lame, fake, fucking metal news media. Don't know why I'm leaning into that this recording. You cannot have, although apparently Dave has, and I'm going to wager that Kyle probably has as well, you can't have a list of the top 5 cover songs and not have the band Typo Negative in there. You just can't do it. Every cover song they've done, they really did make it themselves. And what I really wanted to do was mention Cinnamon Girl, which is a cover of a Neil Young classic, which their fucking one is amazing, but it's kind of conventionally, it sounds like the original to an extent. What doesn't sound like the original until the chorus, and it's fucking slow and doomy and poppy, is their cover of the Seal & Crofts 70s classic Summer Breeze, which is an early cover for them. I fucking adore this cover. They slow it down to within an inch of its life. They chunk up the guitars in a way which this song never needed, but fuck it. Pete Steele delivers that baritone voice, accentuating every R and every rah, all the way through it, and then you get this hugely uplifting Summer Breeze makes me feel, and you're like, oh yeah, the synths come in. It's the tits. It is the fucking tits. I heard it for the first time, and I'm going to get the movie wrong. I want to say it's either on the Urban Legend soundtrack or it's on the I Know What You Did Last Summer soundtrack, and it was the first Typo Negative song I ever heard. So I need to find out who this band is. This is just before I started watching Super Rock back in the day, and they had that song Everything Dies. I was like, yes, sing more, Pete Steele, totally depressing motherfucker. And I've weirdly, Typo Negative are a band that we spoke about this last month. October is dominated by them. It's pretty much like exclusively a month dedicated to Typo Negative. I think the music suits the atmosphere of the month. But they're also a band that the older I've got, the more I fucking love what they did. There's not a band that sounds like Typo Negative. Before or after, there's many people that try to sound like them. They're one of the more unique sounding bands that ever existed, and every cover song they did sounds fucking amazing, and they did a lot. But Summer Breeze by Seal & Crofts, Typo Negative cover version, early on, I think it's their second, and it's not October Rust, but it's in and around that era. It's fucking the tits. So that is my number 2. Also check out Cinnamon Girl though, because it's my Cinnamon Girl. Man, I'm going to assume no one had that on their list.
It was close to going on my list, but then I had other ones.
You had other ones. I had other ones. I had better ones, Duncan.
I actually had the Black Sabbath cover.
Yeah. Now we're talking.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
I did. I had it. It was on there, but it's still on there. It's just not in the top 5 spots.
Nice. Wasn't it close to being on my list?
I keep talking like Typo Negative is a band that I just feel you should like. I don't know why. It's one of it's just one of these bands that whenever I listen to like certain tracks and I hear how slow and doomy the guitars are and whatnot, Dave should fucking love this. And then I speak to you and you're like, like what? I don't know what it is. I fucking love them.
No.
No, Duncan.
Kyle.
Hi.
Number 2.
Let's hope it's not shit. I'm gonna go with a band that's had a long and storied history since the early 90s, covering a song they clearly love and I love. It's a cover of a Judas Priest song called Sentinel by Machine Head. And it was on the Locust album. And as soon as I heard it, I was like, I'm a huge Judas Priest fan, and I absolutely loved this cover of it. It just cranked it up to 1,011 and just made it heavier and better. Well, not better, I don't know. They've definitely made it their own. It's definitely Machine Head, you can tell it, but they just do it with such, like, what's the word, sincerity, I guess? It sounds really good. It's just like, it's the heaviest freaking song ever. When they're playing it, it's like, wow. So I love it. I love the original. I love this one, so...
Nice.
I don't know if you guys heard it or if it was any of your lists. Clearly, it was.
I didn't like that album.
What? You didn't like that album? It's one of I think it's actually their best album because they had like a run. The first album was amazing. The second album was like, then it was like the third one was like not that great, and then it had a fourth, and I can't remember what it was called. And then they sort of like they didn't die off, but they rested for a while, and then they came back with that, and it blew me away. That album. It was just what.
Didn't really like that album.
Everybody's wrong to their opinion.
Everyone is wrong till the right, Kyle. Everyone's wrong till the right.
Yeah, to be honest,
Exactly.
like after the More Things Change, I was kind of I'd like tapped out, to be honest. The Burning Red had some interesting moments, but after that,
I like In the Ashes of Empires. I think that's a fucking great album.
yeah.
Imperium
Check
is
next.
like they could open every set from now on with Imperium, and that would work fine. That is the best, one of the best openings to an album ever. Like it has that brilliant, and it has him just basically it's the modus operandi of the entire album. Hear me now. Yeah, love it. Although they did deserve to be dropped off their fucking label for Supercharger, which is an absolute fucking abortion of an album. It is. Well, we should one day do that. We should invert the topic of best album in a band's catalogue, and we should do album that should have got them dropped off a label, and maybe did. That'd be number 1 for me. So, with that billet.
Okay, we're now down to the number 1 spots. My number 1 is predictable as fuck. It is probably the most metal of all my picks. It is no frills, no fucking about, just riffs on riffs with added riffs. It is Pissing Razors and Domination.
Domination every fucking time, man.
So I just didn't feel like mentioning them once on the podcast was enough. So
is it wrong that I prefer the cover from a Tropelium? I think Tropelium cover it better.
what do you think?
Listen to his voice go high. Yes, I do. Yes, I really fucking do. The Tropelium version's better.
Are you on crack cocaine?
Maybe. That's none of your fucking business, Dave.
Fair enough. Yeah, this is. I already loved Piston Razors as it is, but I was totally hooked when I heard this. Like, Piston Razors covering Pantera, does they get much better than that? It was on Spotify at one point, and now it's just disappeared. So I don't know what happened there, but it's on YouTube if you want to hear it. It sticks fairly close to the original, to be fair, but it just kind of takes those Pantera grooves and serves them up Piston Razor style. It's so fucking groovy, it's unreal, it's thick, it's got a chunky production and perfect shredding vocals. It pays homage to Pantera, but at the same time they put their own spin on it. I actually read afterwards they actually recorded this in one day when they were on tour with Skin Lab.
As you do.
As you do, yeah.
Who could have also covered this song, by the way.
Yeah. They learned it the night before, and then they recorded it at Billy Milano studio in Jersey. Billy Milano was vocalist in Stormtroopers of Death, for those interested. And they recorded it in one day. And it's amazing. It's my favourite cover. I play this all the time. When it was on Spotify, I had it on constantly, but now it's just on YouTube. But it's still by far my most played cover by a clear mile. Piston Razors and Domination.
Now, I am going to because I'm concerned that my number one is going to. I want to make Ming's unique, and there's an obvious one on my list here which hasn't been mentioned yet. So I will acquiesce to Kyle's ability to jump in front.
All right. I'm a bit worried now. If you say you've got this on your list, I will actually genuinely be surprised.
Oh, right. No.
I have not gone obvious at all. This is a cover of an Elvis song.
If this is the Danzig cover of Elvis things that came out this
Danzig,
year, then I will
not.
fucking lose my shit, because it's up there for album of the worst album of the year, not album of the year.
Right. If I ever put a Danzig song on any of my lists, you have permission to come to Norway and beat me in the face with a shoe.
Oh my god, you motherfucker!
No, it's gonna be in my head forever now. I think it was ruined by playing too much Grand Theft Auto when that song was on the soundtrack, and like, oh my god, it's the song again. Oh no, stop!
Don't you know to walk this way?
Oh, Danzig.
So,
anyway,
who's the song?
It's a cover of an Elvis song called Speedway by a band that loves their synths as well.
Oh, right.
Static X.
Static X covered this, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing. Static X have such a great way of playing one note throughout the whole song that doesn't get boring. And it really lends itself to this Elvis song somehow. You never would think that this would work in a Static X kind of way, but it does. Every time I listen to it, I'm like, yep, that's how you cover a song. Don't care what you say. It's just, they totally took it and they were like, Elvis, fucking who's that? These lyrics are great. Let's just write a song. It's nothing like the original, and it's amazing. And you listen to it, it's like, this is completely different. How have you even, what? And I love it. I just love it all the way through. Nice. So I hope that was on your list, because I bumped you off one.
It wasn't off my list, but it's a song that I'm very familiar with. Right, I'm once again I'm in my quandary. I was kind of hoping that you were going to pick the one that was number one on my list, so I could segue one of my other ones in here. Let me rattle down a couple of honourable mentions, Dave. I know I'm breaking the rules, but
fucking hell.
So some honourable mentions here. The band Dope, with their cover of the Billy Idol classic Rebel Yell, which is fucking the trip. Really good. Yeah. Check it out.
Not Spin Me Right Round?
No, because their Spin Me Right Round cover sounds very derivative of Orgy and their cover of Blue Monday, which also didn't make the list. Limp Bizkit's Faith also did not make the list, although it is a fucking great cover. One that is never talked about, which I don't know why, Incubus cover Still Not a Player by Big Punisher. On the Loud Rocks compilation. It's maybe my favourite one in there, and they bunk it up in the hot tub, bubbly. That's fucking great. Godhead with Eleanor Rigby, also great cover. I love Godhead, love me some Godhead.
That was a great cover.
It's a fucking amazing cover. Which leaves me with the number one spot, and I'm going to mix up, and I'm going to go, if Dave can pick his favourite band, and Kyle can talk about one note played inventively, then I'm not going to go down the obvious route of saying Marilyn Manson Sweet Dreams, which is the obvious. That's the number one. It should be number one on everyone's list because it's the best cover. Hands down. However, I'm going to go with this late entry, which I only remembered when Kyle mentioned this guy's name earlier on. David Bowie. That's right. Bringing Bowie back. David Bowie wrote a song which was covered and featured with him by a touring mate of his who did a remix, Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails. You see where I'm going with it?
I know exactly where you're going with
I'm
this,
Afraid of Americans is a fucking amazing cover song, because they take what was already a kind of quirky, somewhat semi-industrial sounding track, and Trent Nine Inch Nails it up to fuck and makes it dirty funk. And it's a brilliant cover, and their combination of vocals on it is just like amazing. So you get David Bowie singing the verses, and you get Trent Reznor and David Bowie doing the choruses together. It's one of these. I don't know, it's like one of these things where like it's David Bowie, like Bowie in the, like Kyle's mentioned it before, like Bowie in the 90s especially, it's having a bit of an identity crisis, because the musical scene, like you've got the whole grunge take off and the alternative scene really picks up, and he's a bit of an outcast at that point, so he just kind of starts fucking around and doing what he really wants to do, which has always been his kind of bag anyway. And then he did the tour with Trent Reznor off the back of, I don't think the Fragile was even out at that point. I think they were still touring Downward Spiral. And
yeah, it was the 90s. So
yeah, and they had a massive tour together where they, like the Nine Inch Nails come on, then David Bowie came on, and then they would do little duets and all the rest, and that would have blown my tits off to see that live. Yeah, and then he started doing remixes of Bowie stuff, and somehow he ended up doing a remix of that track, and it's one of those ones where you, like, everyone that tries to do a cover of a Bowie song, I think it sounds Bowie derivative. I don't really like, I think he just sounds, but for whatever reason, like Trent Reznor always said he grew up listening to David Bowie and it was a huge influence, and then you listen to that track with the two of them, and to me it's the bit where I was like that, oh, he's clearly fucking influenced by David Bowie. Not just stylistically, but clearly it's because that sounds right. That sounds like the two of them could have been, writing music together for years. It's a great cover song, man.
Imagine if they had a band together.
Yeah. It's weird. There's an interview with them on. It's not VH1. It might be MTV News, and it's on that tour. You'll find it on YouTube. And
is that one with a couch and?
Yeah, and they're sitting there, and Trent Reznor's clearly still starstruck by the fact he's sitting beside David Bowie.
He's trying to be all aloof and cool. He's like, I'm sat next to David fucking Bowie.
Because Bowie's cracking all the fucking jokes. He's like being quite sarcastic and snippy back to that Kurt Loder who used to do all the interviews. And he's like really being like super. And like every time he goes to Trent's like, I grew up listening to David and all the rest. It's this little kid listening, and David Bowie's like cracking on about how old he is and shit like that. And it's such on paper such a weird combination, but works so fucking well to the point that you would be like that. Yeah, I could just imagine Bowie fronting. Yeah, I could imagine Bowie singing, "I want to fuck you like an animal," and it would work. He could just just a version of that album with him singing over it, or a couple of songs in the Fragile, definitely. But yeah, give it a listen, Dave. I think, unlike my guess on Typo Negative, which seems to be wrong every time, I think you might like it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so too. Actually,
I'll check it out.
It's definitely heavy. It's not like poppy.
No.
Up in the air, bubblegum. It's
dirty and funky.
Dirty and funky. It's great.
I'm surprised Poppy didn't get a mention, Duncan.
Poppy, all the things you said running through my head.
Was that in your 16?
It was in my 16 because I think it's a great cover, even though it basically sounds like the original. Like, to the point where I actually had to Google to find out that Poppy wasn't in Russian pop duet Tattoo. Because it really, she sounds fucking like, and that song's been covered a few times as well. I've heard some horrendous covers of that from emo bands. Where I'm like, that it doesn't work if you're a guy singing it, so shut the fuck up. But yeah, no, it's a good cover, but it does sound a bit too close to the bone, Dave. Yeah, it does. I'm not sure if that was sarcasm you were aiming for there, or once again trying to remind the listeners out there that Poppy has a fucking phenomenal album that will be in my top 10 at the end of the year. Thanks, Dave.
Spoiler. Or is it fake news? Who knows?
Oh, who knows, Dave? There's so much of it flying around now.
That is our top 5 metal covers. Now, I know what you might be thinking. You think I might like to listen to some of these tracks, hear what the guys are talking about. Well, it just so happens I've created a little playlist on Spotify, and it's called Rock and Metal Cover Songs. And Duncan and Kyle can confirm right now, I'm on my phone. I am about to make it live on Spotify. Make public. Yes. It is now public. Yes. So we now have a playlist, and you can confirm.
Yes.
You can see it there. It is now, I don't know why I'm asking you to confirm it, but you can now check it out. It's on Spotify. It's called Rock and Metal Cover Songs by Metal Epidemic. So it features all the or most of the songs. There's a couple that are not on Spotify. Most of the songs that we spoke about, and a whole load of others. There's over 100 tracks on there. So have a listen, see what you think, and let us know. What do you think are the best metal cover songs? Happy to hear your thoughts and opinions. Let us know.
There we go.
Let us know.